Here's something most leaders don't see until it's too late. It's not the underperformer who breaks a team. It's the leader who doesn't address them. I'm Liz Murray. Welcome to Take 5 with me. This month, we're talking about standards and boundaries. And this week, I want to talk about what happens when a leader sets a strong standard at the start and then quietly lets it go. Because this is not a story about a bad leader. It's a story about a good leader who missed something critical. And I see this pattern more than almost any other in my clients. I worked with an organisation not so long ago where the leader had done something really well. They invested serious time and energy into rolling out a clear mission, vision, and values framework with the whole team. And I mean, they really rolled it out. It wasn't just laminated and stuck on the wall, it was actually embedded. The team fully understood it and they were energized by it. They bought in. For 6 months, the energy in that team was exceptional. Productivity was really high and people were stepping up. Things were really moving. And then slowly, almost without anyone noticing, something started to shift. What the leader didn't realize that while most of the team had naturally figured out what the mission meant for their day-to-day work, one team member hadn't. She was floundering. She didn't understand exactly what her role required of her in her daily practices, what good looked like for her, what was expected week to week. And there were no structured check-ins in place for her, no regular feedback, no recognition of what was working, no clarification of what wasn't. She was falling behind and nobody was saying anything directly to her about it. Now, here's the part that most leaders miss. The team noticed. Not just that she was underperforming, they noticed that nothing was being done about it. And that is where the real damage started to happen. These were committed, high-performing people who had collectively adapted a really strong standard. They were showing up, they were delivering, they were holding themselves to the mission they had signed up for. And they were watching someone not do the same thing. Without consequence, without acknowledgement, without the leader stepping in and holding the line. So one by one, quietly, they started to disengage. Not loudly, not dramatically. They didn't resign. They didn't complain. They just slowly stopped going the extra mile. They stopped bringing their best. They pulled back to doing what was required and nothing more. Silent quitting. Not because they'd stopped caring about the work, because the leader had stopped holding the standard they had all agreed to in the beginning. This is the cost of a soft standard, and it almost never looks like what leaders expect. Most leaders think the risk is in the underperformer. They think the problem is the one person who isn't keeping up. But the real risk is in the message that person's unchecked performance sends to everybody else. When a standard isn't held, it doesn't stay the same. It drops quietly, collectively, and across the whole team. And the people you can least afford to lose, your strongest performers, are the first ones to feel it because they care the most, because they have the highest standards for themselves, and because they will not indefinitely hold themselves to a standard that their leader won't enforce. Now, I want to be clear about something. The leader wasn't negligent. They were not disengaged. They genuinely cared about their team. But caring is not the same as leading. They'd done the hard work setting the standard. What they hadn't done was maintain it. And maintenance is where a lot of leaders fall down, because maintenance requires the conversations that feel a little bit uncomfortable, the check-in that might surface something difficult, or the feedback that names what isn't working clearly and directly. The mission, vision, and values on the wall meant nothing the moment the leader chose not to hold the standard that they represented. Holding the standard doesn't mean being harsh. It means being consistent. It means regular structured check-ins where expectations are named, performance is acknowledged, and gaps are addressed directly, not vaguely, not softly, directly. It means saying to a struggling team member, here's what I'm seeing, here's what the role requires, here's where the gap is, and here's what we're going to do about it. It means doing that early, before the rest of the team has noticed, and before that disengagement has set in, before the culture has quietly recalibrated itself around the lowest standard being tolerated. Soft standards don't come from the leaders who don't care. They come from leaders who care deeply, but confuse caring with avoiding discomfort. Your team doesn't need you to be endlessly supportive. They need you to be clear. They need to know what the standard is and that it's real and that it applies to everyone and that you'll hold it even when it's uncomfortable to do that. Because the moment that your strongest people start believing that, you've already lost them. Next week, I'm going to challenge how you think about leadership boundaries entirely, because I think most leaders have it completely backwards. And once you see it differently, it changes how you lead from that point forward. Make sure you subscribe so you don't miss it. And if you're ready to do this work right now, Be Exceptional is my online course for leaders who are ready to lead with clarity and hold the standard and build teams that actually step up. The link is in the description below. I'll see you next week.